I'm going to let you know. I'm only going to cut, probably about a 5-inch piece of this, just to see what happens. So, bear with me when it comes to the noise. I know it's going to be loud. Hopefully it'll go quick. All right, we're getting there. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do next to better protect everything else is put something on this end to hold it in place, kind of like a foot. Alright, so I've gotten quite a bit way through, as you can see, but this outer covering, which is like an insulation, is what I'm going to have to cut through next. So, looking to me like I'm going to have to flip this thing over. Yeah, it's a heavy piece of cable. Come off a construction crane. It was actually given to me by my buddy Josh. So, now that we've got that flipped over, I'm just going to have to cut right through here and get this outer core off. There we go. Separate piece. Now, yeah, this is braided. So I don't know if I want to take this off or if I want to try to hammer this back down into it to have this whole piece here to use for making a Damascus blade. But it went better than I expected. Now granted, the fear was going to be that this end here was going to fray, which it did. It opened up quite a bit. But I can probably clamp that and twist it back and possibly tack weld the end of it. But this is all trial and error because I've never worked with this before. So this is what we're going to start with, and I'm actually kind of excited. So you guys stay tuned, and we'll see what happens from here going forward. Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Alright, so in playing around, I wanted to put it in the fire and see what it would do, because the far side that didn't look like it was done up, it did fray a little bit, but it didn't completely unravel. So I think I can fix that. Hi, Mr. Bean. Hi, Bean. Hi, Bubba. Good boy. Anyway, I've got it going. It's heating up, and this is all borax. From what I've studied and learned, I can use this as like a flux or the material that they use to make Damascus. So I'm only documenting this as trial and error to see what ends up happening. Let me turn the lights off and see if that changes the view. No, not so much, still bright in there. But we're going to give this a go and see what happens. Alright, so it's nice and hot. I did lose some of the steel inside the forge as I grabbed this, but what I was told was to put copious amounts of this borax on there so that it gets inside and it starts baking, and then put it back in and let it cook. So we'll see if this works. Alright, so technically all I should have to do is get it out of the forge and hit it with a hammer lightly to kind of tack weld it. So we'll see if that happens. See, it was separated. The outer pieces are somewhat coming off, but again, this is trial and error, and I don't know if I need to put more on there prior to hitting it with a hammer, but I'm going to keep trying and see exactly what happens, because it is splitting, but we'll get it back up to temp to throw more borax on there. Forgot a step was to twist it in a vise to somewhat weld it together. Yes, I know my vise is not bolted down to my workbench yet. Ha! I'm just kidding, YouTube. I didn't give up. I wanted to see what this was going to do. So I have a small piece. It is big enough to make a blade, but I do have a Damascus pattern piece of steel. I am very happy with this piece of steel. Trial and error. not knowing what was going to happen. But it's holding together really well. And we're going to go from there. I'm just going to keep putting some borax on there to tie up these loose ends down in this little end here. And see if I can't forge weld that together. And we're going to go from there. So, I do appreciate you guys tuning in and watching. These little frayed ends down there. I don't want to be frayed. They don't got to be scared enough.